Hey, this is Daryl. I'm here with TechCrunch, and we've got the Tesla Model 3. This is the car that everybody wants. No one can get it. We've got it. We're going to go take it for a ride. So driving the Tesla Model 3, it's got a pretty standard steering wheel, except it has these controls here. And normally you do have steering wheel controls on a car, any modern car, but these are actually not assigned to any specific function, and that's by design. Tesla wanted them to be modular and to be able to fit whatever purpose the driver needs at any given moment. So depending on what you select over on your dash, whether it be sort of steering wheel adjustments, cockpit controls, for things like temperature and stuff like that, they'll switch as needed. And right now, by default, the one on the left controls your audio playback, so you can adjust the volume by going up and down, and skip tracks left and right, and then play and pause by pressing down. And it's not that big of a departure from most normal cars, but still, it shows that Tesla is thinking differently about vehicle design. Another way they're doing that is with the dash. As you can see, it's pretty much unbroken. It's just you, the road, and then this sort of like featureless dash where there's not a traditional instrument cluster. So all of that information is going to be right here on your main display, occupying the left third of the screen, which is where everything that is relevant to a driver is there, available in your peripheral vision. But most of the time you can kind of forget about that and just concentrate on the road, which is great because this is a really fun to drive car, and it really emphasizes your connection to the road because you've got that unbroken view. But part of that also is this dash uniquely doesn't have any vents like for airflow. So it actually has just this one long continuous seam here, and that's airfoils. So they're directing air in a specific direction, and there's two of them interacting with each other, and they can place air very specifically where you want it. And you can control that on the display too, and just sort of drag around with your finger and say, I want it to feel the air here, or I want to feel it down here, or whatever. And the force of the air can be adjusted and stuff like that too, but it makes for a really nice look, a really clean look. And basically, that's what this car is all about. Clean design, simplicity of design, unbroken lines wherever possible, which has always been a big Tesla thing. But yeah, they really pull it off. Like again, with the another cabin features the big panorama roof, and it's slightly opaque, but you can see the features of the sky, and it lets sunlight in and feels natural, and that continues through the back. And that's basically something that Tesla took from the Tesla Model 3 or the Model X and adapted to the Model 3 to give you the sense of a really wide open cockpit, and it feels that way front and back. It's a car that has a tremendous amount of space, despite the fact that it's actually quite small in terms of exterior proportions, especially relative to something like the Model S or the Model X. One of the key features of Tesla's Model 3 is this big display. It's the only display in the car. There's no longer a traditional instrument panel, and instead you have this split where on this third of it, the screen, it's information that's relevant to the driver at any given moment. So you can see, we're parked right now, so we've got an overview of the vehicle. It'll tell you if any doors are open. You can actually tap the open icons there to get the front trunk or the back trunk open, or the charging port, and it'll give you your estimated remaining range in miles, and also your controls for your windshield wipers. So this has manual settings, but then also Tesla has a new auto mode for their windshield wipers, which actually uses a neural network to intelligently vary the speed at which the wipers move depending on how much rain is on there. So most cars use a very simple rain sensor that basically says, oh, water wet, I better turn the blades. But this one uses information taken from the camera that's used for the autonomous system. So you can also see your trip meter, which you would normally have in your dash. You can see tire pressure there to make sure that you don't need to top up. And you've also got your voice controls and your backup camera and various other commands. So you can see the backup camera takes up this other 2/3 of the screen, and that's basically where anything contextually relevant to the driving experience is going to happen, based on whether you want to do navigation, or infotainment controls and like music playback. So this is from my phone. You can see I've got the McElroy Brothers. It's a great podcast. My brother and me. Please listen. I don't know why I'm doing a plug, but you've also got TuneIn, which is built in. So that's Tesla's own service. They partnered with TuneIn, and you've got streaming radio and just regular radio too. And we don't have any of those right now because we're in the middle of the forest and there's no connectivity. Regular radio works, but nothing else will. Yeah, but you've got indicators up here so you can see actually that we are out of LTE range. And then you can also go through and change your heating for your seats, adjust the cabin comforts, so adjust your air conditioning and heat, and also access all those music controls, your phone, adjust the volume, set to mute, and control your defrosters right here in the bottom row, and that's going to be constant throughout your experience. So it's a system that's a bit different than what you'd expect from a car, and it's different even from Tesla's own cars, because a lot of these controls or information is displayed sort of in your instrument cluster instead, and it takes a little getting used to, but once you are used to it, it's actually pretty natural to use. It's just like using an iPhone or an iPad. It's actually a very similar experience using an iPad because they've upgraded the responsiveness, and the touchscreen is very smooth, the scrolling is very smooth, and yeah, it becomes kind of, I wouldn't say second nature, but it becomes a lot easier. There are things that it's taken us a while to get used to finding, like let's say the glove box control, which we now know and can find reliably. It doesn't close, it just opens. And also things like the mirror adjustments, which again, they map to those contextual buttons on the steering wheel. But yeah, it's going to take some getting used to, but I think that it's not going to impede anybody's driving experience with this car. And it really does help to emphasize that the most important thing you should be doing is paying attention to this wheel, those pedals, keeping your eyes on the road, and actually enjoying the drive as you go.